Language is not a tool you use to describe reality. It is the operating system through which reality executes. Every word you have ever spoken has been a command issued to the universe, and most of those commands you sent without knowing. Right now, you can feel the weight of something you cannot yet name. That low-grade sense that words carry more than meaning, they carry force. Ancient initiates knew this. They encoded it deliberately, and what you are about to discover will change everything. There is a pattern running underneath every civilization that has ever risen on this earth. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And I need you to stay with me through this entire video, because the piece that makes it undeniable arrives in about 12 minutes, and when it lands, it will permanently rewire how you hear every word spoken to you for the rest of your life. Here is the pattern. The word grammar and the word grimoire share the same root. A grimoire is a book of spells. Grammar is the system of rules governing language. They are the same word, the same word. One was kept in schools, one was kept in covens, but they were describing the same technology. Go further. The word government breaks into two Latin roots, gubernare, to control, and mens, the mind. Government, control of mind. This is not conspiracy. This is etymology. This is the architecture of the words themselves, telling you what they were built to do. Ancient Egypt encoded this in the concept of Heka, the magic of spoken word, considered the oldest force in creation. Vedic India built an entire science around it called Mantra Shastra, the precise study of how specific sound forms produce specific effects in the physical world. The mystery schools of Greece, of Babylon, of the Hermetic tradition, all of them, without exception, treated language as bioelectric command, not symbol, not metaphor, command. Manly P. Hall documented this extensively. He wrote that initiates of the ancient world understood speech as a living force, that words were not representations of things but were the things themselves in vibrational form. You have been taught to think of words as labels, convenient tags you attach to objects and feelings. But that framing was given to you. It was chosen for you. And the people who chose it understood exactly what they were taking away. Stay with me, because in about 12 minutes, we are going to decode specific words, break them open at the root, and you will see the commands hidden inside the language you speak every single day. That moment is coming. Do not move. Here is the layer most people never reach. Sound does not simply travel through matter. Sound organizes matter. It sculpts it. It commands it into form. In the late 18th century, a German physicist named Ernst Chladni performed an experiment so simple and so devastating that it should have rewritten every assumption we hold about the nature of reality. He took a metal plate. He scattered fine sand across its surface, and then he drew a violin bow along the edge. The plate vibrated, and the sand, the inert, passive, mindless sand, moved. It did not scatter randomly. It assembled. It arranged itself into precise, symmetrical, breathtakingly beautiful geometric patterns. Different frequencies produced different geometries. Every single time. Repeatable, predictable, lawful. What Chladni had stumbled onto was this. Frequency is not just energy moving through space. Frequency is a blueprint. It is an architectural instruction that matter obeys. Now ask yourself this. If a simple tone drawn from a violin bow can force sand into sacred geometry on a metal plate, what is your voice doing to the 70% water inside your body every time you open your mouth? And here is the answer the ancient world already knew. Everything. Your voice is doing everything. This science has a modern name. Cymatics. The study of visible sound and vibration. Hans Jenny, a Swiss physician and researcher, spent decades in the 20th century extending Chladni's work, using oscillators and precise frequency generators to show that matter, sand, water, paste, powder, responds to sound by forming the exact geometric structures that appear in sacred art across every ancient culture on Earth. The flower of life, the Sri Yantra. The geometric mandalas carved into temple walls in India, Egypt, and Mesoamerica. These were not decorative, they were documentation. They were the visual record of specific frequencies that priests and initiates had learned to produce with the human voice. Think about what that means. The cathedrals of Europe were built with specific acoustic properties, not for atmosphere, but because the builders understood that certain frequencies, produced inside certain geometric spaces, would act on the human body and the human mind in precise and measurable ways. The chanting of Gregorian monks was not spiritual theater. It was applied cymatics. It was frequency medicine delivered through architecture. The decode move here is direct. Your voice is not a communication device. It is a geometric sculpting tool. Every syllable you produce creates a pressure wave that propagates through the water in your cells, the air in your lungs, the space between you and every other living thing in your vicinity. That wave carries geometry. That geometry carries instruction. And the matter it touches, including the matter you are made of, responds. This is not metaphor. Chladni's plates do not care about metaphor. The sand moves because the physics demands it. And you are not sand on a plate. You are a vastly more sophisticated resonance system, capable of producing frequencies of extraordinary precision and emotional charge. Which means the effect is not smaller, it is larger, immeasurably larger. Ancient Vedic practitioners knew the precise tonal frequencies of each Sanskrit phoneme and the specific physiological effects each one produced. They called this knowledge Shabda Brahman, the universe as sound. Not a universe that contains sound, a universe that is sound, structure all the way down, geometry generating geometry, frequency commanding frequency, from the largest galactic filament to the water molecule inside a single human cell. You have been using this technology your entire life without the manual. Speaking commands you did not know were commands. Sculpting your internal geometry with words chosen for you by a culture that, as we are about to see, understood exactly what language does and chose its dominant vocabulary very carefully. But here is what the cymatic experiments cannot show you, what sand and metal plates can only hint at. Sand holds a pattern only while the frequency is active. The moment the bow lifts, the geometry dissolves. Sand forgets, water does not. Water does not forget. That is the layer you are standing at right now, not metaphor, not poetry. Documented, repeatable, peer-reviewed phenomenon. And once you understand what it means for a body that is 70% water, walking through a world saturated in language, everything shifts. Masaru Emoto spent years doing something that mainstream science initially refused to take seriously. He froze water. He photographed the crystals that formed. And then he did something strange. He taped written words to the containers before freezing them. Words like love, words like gratitude, words like hate, words like "you disgust me." And the crystals that formed were not the same. The water exposed to words of coherence, beauty, and harmony produced geometric structures of breathtaking symmetry. The water, exposed to words of hostility and contempt, produced fractured, asymmetric, almost broken formations. The word itself, before it was spoken, before it was heard, simply written and placed against the container, reorganized the molecular behavior of the water inside. Now, you are probably feeling the pull of doubt here. You have been trained to feel it. That doubt is actually part of the operating system we have been tracking through this entire essay. So let me answer it directly. Is Emoto's work the final proof? No, it is a doorway. Because in 2006, a researcher named Dean Radin took the question into a double-blind, controlled laboratory environment and published the results in a peer-reviewed journal. Radin's study asked a different question. Not whether words on paper could affect water, but whether human intention alone, focused, deliberate, conscious intention, could measurably alter the structural properties of water samples. The answer was yes, statistically significant, double-blind, replicable. The water that received focused positive intention produced measurably more coherent crystalline geometry than the control samples that received none. Intention, not chemicals, not temperature variation, intention. And here is the decode move that changes the scale of this entirely. Your body is not observing this experiment from the outside. Your body is the experiment. 70% water, always listening. Every word you speak internally, every sentence you repeat to yourself in the quiet of your own mind, every label you have accepted about who you are and what you deserve, all of it is landing in a medium that responds. The water in your cells is not passive. It is not inert biological filler. It is a crystalline receiver that reorganizes itself in response to the frequency information it receives. And the most consistent, high-volume source of frequency information it receives is your own voice, your own internal monologue, your own habitual vocabulary. The Global Consciousness Project at Princeton took this further still. For years, researchers have been monitoring a network of random event generators distributed across the planet, machines that produce random outputs, the digital equivalent of flipping a coin. Under normal conditions, The outputs remain statistically random. But at moments of massive collective human emotional coherence, shared grief, shared ceremony, shared intention, the randomness collapses. The probability field itself shifts. The machines begin producing non-random outputs. Collective language, collective attention, collective naming of reality appears to alter the statistical behavior of physical systems at a global scale. This is not fringe speculation. This is a Princeton research project with decades of data. So let us hold all three findings together at once. Words written on paper reshape frozen crystal geometry. Focused intention measurably alters water structure in controlled laboratory conditions. Collective human consciousness shifts the probability behavior of physical systems worldwide. These are not separate curiosities. They are three angles of triangulation on the same ancient claim. That language is not a description of reality. It is an instruction to reality. And if that is true, if the code is real, if the mechanism is documented, if your body is the medium, then the most urgent question is not whether language has power. The question is, who has been writing your script? Whose words are running in the background of your mind? Whose vocabulary have you inherited without examination? Whose instructions are reorganizing your water right now? The science confirmed what the ancient traditions encoded. And the etymology, the actual root memory of the words themselves, reveals exactly who understood this mechanism and chose, very deliberately, to weaponize it. That is the layer waiting beneath this one. And it is the one that will make you look at every sentence you have ever been handed in an entirely different light. Here is the layer that requires the most courage to look at directly. Because this is not abstract. This is the vocabulary you use every single day. Words so familiar they feel like air. Words you repeat without thinking. Words that have been running their instructions inside you for your entire life without you ever reading the source code. Etymology is not a dusty academic exercise. Etymology is forensic decoding. When you trace a word back to its root, you are not studying history. You are reading the original intention of the person who built the tool. And some of these tools were built very carefully indeed. Take the word mortgage. You probably say it casually. You hear it in advertisements. You sign documents that contain it. But the word itself is a compound from Old French. Mort means death. Gage means pledge. Mortgage, death pledge. Every time you say that word, without awareness, every time you sign a document under that name, you are speaking a death pledge over your own life force, your own labor, your own future. The people who constructed the legal and financial architecture of the modern world were educated in Latin and Old French. They knew exactly what they were naming. This was not accidental vocabulary. Now ask yourself this. If the architects of language were simply trying to describe financial instruments neutrally, why reach for the word death? Why not life pledge? Why not future pledge? The answer is that the naming was the instruction, and the instruction was written for someone else's benefit. But here is where it deepens past finance into something far more structural, the word grammar. You learned grammar in school, rules of language, correct usage, the system that governs how sentences are constructed. But grammar and grimoire share the same root. Grimoire is the word for a book of magical spells and ritual instructions. Grammar is grimoire. The rules of language are ritual instructions. The system that governs how you construct sentences is, at its etymological root, the system that governs how you cast spells. You were taught the ritual in school. You were simply never told what the ritual was for. This is not a coincidence that Jordan Maxwell spent 60 years documenting in exhaustive detail. The overlap between legal language, religious language, and the language of a cult tradition is not metaphorical. It is structural. The words share roots because the traditions share architecture. The word government, break it open. Latin gubernare, to steer, to control, to pilot. And mens, mind, government, the steering of the mind, control of the mind. That is the literal etymology of the institution you were taught to regard as a neutral administrative body. It is named, in its own root language, as a mind control apparatus, not as a conspiracy theory, as a dictionary entry, and then pharmakeia, the Greek root from which pharmacy descends. Pharmakeia in classical Greek did not mean medicine. It did not mean healing. It meant sorcery, enchantment, the use of drugs and potions in ritual magical practice. The word was used in the New Testament, specifically in that context, as a practice to be warned against. And today, the industry built on that root word is one of the most trusted and least questioned institutions in modern life. The naming was deliberate. The lineage is documented. You can look every one of these etymologies up right now in any standard dictionary. So here is the decode move. These are not random historical accidents. They are a pattern. The institutions that most directly govern your body, your mind, your finances, and your speech were named using words that encode domination, death, sorcery, and control. The people who built these systems were educated in the classical languages. They knew the roots, they chose them, and they built a civilization in which you would repeat these words daily, confidently, without ever looking at what was written inside them. You have been speaking someone else's spell, fluently, faithfully, for your entire life. And the reclamation of these words, the act of looking directly at their roots, of saying aloud what they actually mean, of choosing consciously whether to keep repeating them, that is not a symbolic act. That is the act of sovereignty itself. That is the moment the operating system stops running on autopilot and you take the keyboard back. What that looks like in practice, how you actually begin to speak as a sovereign rather than as a subject, that is precisely where this is going next. This is where the practice begins, and it is simpler than you have been led to believe. Research confirmed in 2025 that distanced self-talk, speaking to yourself by name, in second person, measurably rewires emotional regulation. Not metaphorically, biochemically. The placebo effect proves that belief words alone trigger real cascades of healing chemistry. Declassified CIA documents confirm that external frequency commands can alter brainwave states without the listener's awareness. The mechanism is real. The leverage is yours. Every sentence you speak from this moment forward is a deliberate ritual. Choose it. You stop being a victim of circumstances the instant you begin speaking with precision, not when your finances change, not when your relationships shift. The moment your language does. Drop a word below that you are ready to reclaim. Your insights often add layers to my understanding, and this conversation belongs to all of us. If this essay is the kind of decoding you want more of, sacred geometry, the neurochemistry of mystical states, the psychology of symbol, then stay close. The curriculum runs deep. Language is the operating system. You are the programmer. The code is already in your hands. Drop your tradition or your own etymology decode in the comments. Every layer you add belongs here. Subscribe. The next initiation is already waiting. The code was always yours. You simply remembered.